Hello, everybody. Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here with Becoming the 1% podcast. Today, my guest is Corey Upton. Yes, IFBB Pro Corey Upton and I. He's a personal trainer. He has some trainers underneath him, a team running out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Together, we talk about training methodology, the struggles of starting out as a trainer, the scalability of the business. We also talk about the experience he had as a bodybuilder, his early ons, some of the potential drug use in the industry, the do's, the don'ts, how you can do those things safely, and how you can do them irresponsibly. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode. What's up, Corey?
What's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
Thanks.
You?
Yeah, great, man. Thanks for coming on. Seriously.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I am too. It's been an adventurous little task of me going and sort of looking through the people that I wanted to have on here, and you and I have actually communicated for a while. When is the first time that we even talked about doing an episode? It's been
probably 5-6 months ago.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Even before I was trying to even bring you on, I think before we had everything in here. We were still doing it in the gym when we first talked.
Yep, you were.
Nice.
Yes, place looks awesome. I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Yeah. So lots to cover today. I want to kind of start with you. This is sort of how we like to initiate the conversation on our episodes. I want to hear what have you been doing? You know, what has your journey been like? Obviously, you're IFBB Pro. You own Uptown Fitness. Where has that journey kind of started? Just from a 30,000-foot view, give me a synopsis on what it is you've been doing.
Okay, so I've always been into fitness, played sports growing up. I was actually really skinny growing up. I was lean, but I didn't have any muscle at all. So I played all the normal sports, baseball, football, basketball, and I was kind of a runt. I didn't hit a growth spurt till about junior year, so I quit football sophomore year
of high school.
Yes, because I was actually, believe it or not, like one of the smallest ones on the team. So then I quit. By senior year, I started weightlifting a little bit. I got a gym membership when I was playing basketball and just kind of fell in love with lifting. My dad was kind of like in and out of prison like my whole life. So really? I remember when he was little, like he came to see me and he was just like kind of like in a tank top or wife beater. He's like, one day, you'll get some arms
Seriously.
like that. So from that day on, it kind of stuck in my head. My grandpa used to bodybuild a little bit. Like, he didn't compete, but he still did it, So I had a goal to just be like 200 with abs, 225 with abs, and then it just kept going. I think I did my first show when I was 17 years old. Yeah. So I had a friend that was going to compete for a teen show. He's like, you should get into this with me. And then I was like, get on a stage with a Speedo. I was like, not really my thing.
Sure.
But then
I can understand that.
I did my first show. I think I got top 4 in a huge teen class. And then it just kind of kept going from there.
How many shows have you done?
I think from 2007 to 2017, I did 32 or 33 shows.
Whoa.
I was trying to think of that last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
And so in that timeline, you say you did 32 shows. How long did it take for you to get your card?
10 years. So
10 years.
The 10th year. So, if people think they're going to come into bodybuilding and just go pro all of a sudden, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Takes years and years of hard work and sacrifice.
There's a big lesson in that.
Oh, absolutely.
And none more so than in bodybuilding. I mean, the amount of time it takes to pack on that muscle. I'm looking at the screen. It's and you said this was this right before a show?
Yeah,
how many shows had you done at this point?
That was near the end, so I'd probably done 29 or 30 shows. That was 2016 before nationals.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so you've been a pro bodybuilder. You did 32 shows.
Yep.
You've transitioned from doing that competitively.
Yep.
And now, you're training? What are you doing? Nutrition? Like, what's going on now?
So I've kind of semi-retired. I guess I have a lot of titles, personal trainer, bodybuilder, therapist sometimes, some of my clients. I'm sure you know how that goes.
I do.
So I started training about 10 years ago, 2012. Yeah. Started my own business. I was really young. I did it for 2 years. It was going okay. Started to go downhill. I mean, I was 23, 24 years old. I'm 33 now. A client of mine was business partners with the CEO of Lifetime. So he's like,
cool.
Hey, why don't you go work at Lifetime, North Scottsdale? You'll have a set pay, you'll get your benefits. So for me at the time, I thought it was a good move. Mm-hmm. So I went there, worked my way up. I was one of the top trainers for like 3.5 years, stayed there way too long. I mean, they're taking
at Lifetime
40% of your money. It's ridiculous, And I was scared to leave. The longer you stay there, the more, scared you are to leave. And that's, they have you trapped
What,
like
you
that.
gotta like go out on your own, take a chance? You gotta pay yourself? Oh, it's a total risk. I get that.
So I regret, not leaving earlier, but I made a lot of connections there. And, some of the clients I've been training for 8 years, I've met in North Scottsdale up there. So it was all it was supposed to happen. It was all part of the journey.
Yeah.
So I left in December of 2017.
Okay.
I started my own business. I had my LLC in the past, but, kind of restarted it.
Yeah.
So I went to Glory Gains and everything was going good until the beginning of 2018. 4 or 5 other coworkers followed me. So if it would have just been me by myself, everything would have been fine. But we took majority of the business. So then they came at us.
From Lifetime?
From Lifetime.
Okay, so then Lifetime...
Then here comes the non-compete. Okay, so you can't be.
Do you sign a non-compete when you decide to train?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
And no one knew how serious it was. There had been plenty of people that had left before. So I was like, why are they going to come after me? And they wouldn't have, but they should have staggered it. They all followed me. So, we took so much business. I get it.
Yeah.
And summer of 18, probably one of the most stressful years of my life. So we go into
Even more than 20?
It was close. Yeah, 20 was great. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
COVID helped out, actually.
Yeah,
so
us too. Hugely.
Yeah,
massive
great
on COVID. Yeah. Okay, so I assume the dust settled with the non-compete.
Yeah, we had to do a settlement. I mean, they came after us. They kicked us out of the gym. We had a temporary restraining order. We couldn't train there for 9 months. We hired an expensive attorney, We could barely afford it. We're just young trainers. I mean, it was messed up because some of us, I don't have kids, but a few others did, and they were just cutting us open. We're paying for these attorneys. Yeah. We made a settlement altogether. It was about $150K. I think 5 of us split. So we had to start making payments. I had to move up my business.
Settlement you had to pay them? Yeah. 150 between the 5?
It was insane. Some of it was attorneys, but most of it was for them.
Yeah.
So, that was stressful, a lesson learned. I had to move my whole business to Old Town Scottsdale, which I live up North Scottsdale, so it was a far drive. But then we found this whole other clientele down there. So after 9 months, I decided I'm going to start working at both gyms. So now I run my business out of 2 gyms in Scottsdale. So...
Tell me this does not, with you, resonate with the once upon a time trainer analogy that I used during the seminar work when we talk. We do, just to give a little backstory, we do every other month, maybe every 3 months, we'll do a seminar, kind of like a free day for people to come in and see just kind of the business model. Mm-hmm. And what I talk about in my little section where I talk is the once upon a time trainer.
Yep.
Quite literally what you are describing is the step-by-step process that I use in my analogy of what most trainers go through in order to end up in a place. Because, kind of the finish line is, all right, I have my own brand, my own clients, my own facility, and I am a unilateral entrepreneur. That's like the finish line for most people in our industry. That's where we want to get. 999.9% of everybody who goes through it does almost exactly what you did.
Yep.
They get, and you were at the top. See, you were like what the once upon a time trainer praise they get to. I'm the top 3 trainer at Lifetime.
Yep.
When I leave, all my clients do leave with me. So you were good enough to have that happen. A lot of trainers, when they leave, their clients don't go with them. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but certainly not enough to get. Yep. And then even that, you didn't get a reward. You got crushed by a non-compete. You actually had to pay for those people coming and following you. So the stage of, okay, let me get my cert. Okay, let me go to the gym. Okay, let me get my clients. And then let me leave. And then let me build on my own. All of that is why, what did they say? Like 85% of clients don't last more than 1 year?
Exactly.
Or 85% of trainers, don't last more than 1 year? Mm-hmm. Because the industry is not designed for success under that model.
Yep.
The industry is designed for success for Lifetime, success for EOS, for those places with the trainers that work there, not for the trainers themselves.
Definitely.
And it's almost it's certainly an enlightening experience you've gone through, because you are a walking example of where someone with a lot of skill, a lot of experience can still fall into that trap and have to fight and claw your way out. Mm-hmm. And now, like you said, you've been in it for 10 years. How long professionally you've been training for? 10 years?
About 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 years.
Yep.
And now if you were to go back to 17, 18-year-old you, I guarantee you would have done that differently.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And a lot of people would have quit, a long time ago. I was never in it for the money, I always wanted to be a trainer, but I was super passionate about it. I wanted to set a good example for what a fitness professional would be. I've built these great relationships with some of my clients. I've been friends with some of them for 8 to 10 years. And I knew if I left and set up a game plan that most of them were going to follow me. And I think almost every single client almost left with me. I mean, some of them kept their membership there, but it was pretty cool. I had a couple friends kind of work for me within that little window of before COVID, so 2018 to 20, and they kind of had to go on to their own career path. Sure. So now we're kind of getting into COVID. Yeah. So the gyms kind of start shutting down. Everyone's freaking out. I mean, I'm sure
nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, you were training here, right?
We were.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I think for about, it wasn't any longer than maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks. Right around 6 weeks, we were the only open facility, legally open. There were a couple places that were like backdooring the whole operation, but we were the only like open place for like 6 weeks when that all happened. Yeah, and at the time, he hadn't even come on. It was like right at the genesis of our partnership because he had just graduated. Yep. When that happened, I mean, that quadrupled membership here. The whole business model had to be revamped when that happened. So that's another thing that I talk about quite fervently when discussing the difference in the Once Upon a Time trainer versus the business model that we have followed. COVID will hit anyone again. And I'm not talking about COVID, the disease. I'm talking about the situation that was caused from COVID, the shutdowns, the regulations, the unemployment that followed. All of that will happen again. Yep. And, do you want to be, think about what happened to the industry, our industry, when that happened. Yep. Do you want to be in a place where, let's say it's a great gym. I know TG Mesa, they don't even charge their trainers. They just let their trainers go in and train. Mm-hmm. But even they are subject to the CDC and to the shutdowns. And if your business closes down, what are you going to do? To me, that was just, and I didn't even consider the possibility that could even happen because most people didn't think it could happen when I started this. But as it sits here today, that's a big talking point when I try to talk to trainers about, hey man, no, invest in the brand that is you. Don't latch on to a gym or a physical location. You need to be mobile. Yep. I'm not saying turn your whole house into a gym, but you need to have a plan for when that happens again.
And you better be prepared. And I did not expect that to happen at all. But this is all I know. I had nothing else to fall back on. I was like, regardless, we're going to figure this out. So my old posing coach, Rusty Jeffers, had a really cool garage gym. Looks like nothing compared to yours. But just keep in mind, we had dumbbells all the way to 160s. It was a hardcore dungeon. So we had that. I was doing park workouts. And then we had the little place, PT by Joe, in Old Town. And it was literally like caution taped off. It was like a speakeasy, You just had to say a secret word, knock to get in. So
a lot of places had to.
Yep. So I made it work. I was literally driving all the way from North Phoenix to Old Town to Parks, and I was going all around, and people were literally filling my schedule so quick. I had to hire somebody on. So that's when I hired on my first trainer. We started growing from there, and then I think by 2021 last year, now we have a team of 4, including me.
Sick.
So it just blew up.
And where are you at now? Where is your physical location? Are you guys mobile all over? Or are you in a gym?
2 locations. So we're at primarily we're at Independence in Old Town Scottsdale, and then Glory Gaines in North Scottsdale. Very cool. So the only reason I stayed at both is because we have clients on both sides of town. Mm-hmm. So I bounce back and forth between both gyms, and then my other trainers, they are usually primarily at one of the gyms. Yeah. So we just try to spread out the valley like that.
Sick. And
we've been expanding, we have a good business model going, so everything's going good.
Yeah. So talk to me about training. What kinds of training do you implement? Is it reflective of the kinds of stuff that you do? Mm-hmm. How has that translated to your trainers? Do you allow them entire freedom on how to program? How does that work inside of your company?
So my background was mainly strength training. When I was bodybuilding, I did a lot of hypertrophy, so that was mainly my focus. And now I've kind of switched into functional training, circuit training. We do a lot of circuit training. We have one-on-one small groups. We do resistance training, kind of mix it in. So I'll kind of have them shadow me for 2 weeks, let them get the system down, and then I'll kind of allow them the freedom to kind of build the programs. We include like a nutrition plan with everyone's contracts when they come on board. So I do all the nutrition plans for everyone, you know, whether you want to compete or whether you just want to lose body fat. So I design all the nutrition programs. I do online training as well. So I have my mobile app. I have everyone with their, you know, monthly workouts. I have all their video tutorials. They do weigh-ins and check-ins every Friday morning. So I have some clients that are out of state, some that are in state.
Outstanding. Yep. So when it comes to private, semi-private, small group, that kind of thing, do you have a trainer that does one and then trainers that do the other? Do you favor one over the other? What kind of because the workouts will be entirely different, as you know. If you have a group of 6, it's very different than a group of 2.
Yeah.
How does your business model account for that? Do you have, like I said, do you have a trainer that favors one over the other? Or how does that work?
So they usually favor one-on-one training. I mean, they have a couple small groups. I do most of the small groups for the guys and girls, and then we allow up to 5 in the group because I think if you
Small
have
pause. That's the fridge. Sorry, Corey. Continue.
Okay, so we all do one-on-one and small group. I will primarily do most of the groups, but Karen and Gabby, they're starting to take on small groups as well and kind of just working their ways up. Nice. You see a lot of these trainers, they have a huge small group of like, you know, 10 people, and they're not paying attention to everyone's form and technique. I'm not trying to knock on anyone, but I'll have maybe 4 to 5 in the small group at a time. So just
Definitely.
You can just pay attention to everyone.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like.
Yeah, I myself don't really like the idea of classes. I understand their need in the market. Some people, it's just a matter of financial strain, and I get that, but
Yes.
I don't like it. I don't encourage it, and I don't teach it.
Yep.
For me, I do 1 and 2 person training.
Yep.
That's it.
And I would prefer that too.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier to give the attention to that individual.
Yep.
And just it allows from a periodization standpoint, it allows that to actually happen.
Yep.
Because in a classroom, it's almost impossible to actually have a program that will stagger and grow and all that kind of stuff if you have 7, 8, 9 people all going.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Very chaotic. Very, very out of control. Would you say your client base is exclusively Gen Pop? I mean, do you get bodybuilders? Do you have people that, I mean, obviously everybody wants to look like you, but what is your client base if you had to kind of
I would say we do have competitors that compete now, but I would say 70% of our clients are just plus 40 that just want to be in good shape.
Okay.
So I have a lot of successful plus 40, plus 50, you know, businessmen and women that just want to be in good shape. And,
nice.
I mean, they're the best clients. I mean, they're easy to work with. They're dedicated. They're focused. So it's great.
That's great. What has been your most successful marketing strategy? You say you've got these people, you've got, 2 class, 3 class, 4 class, few trainers below you.
Yep.
Do you market as a team? Do you all kind of create the content, put it all into a group, and then all of you share your Instagram? Or does everybody kind of do their own thing? How does that work for you?
Yeah, everybody kind of does their own thing. They're still learning. I'm trying to push them to post more, but I think mainly just from social media, from Instagram, and referrals and word of mouth. Like, I'm posting workouts every day like you in the story, and I've done that for 5 to 6 years. We'll post transformations, we'll do testimonials. I try to put workout videos, correctional videos, nutrition, and I
like that.
Oh yeah,
the graphic above the
I got
above
a
the movement.
little team that's kind of helping with that now. They're really cool, so they've been a good hit. So I just try to put simple correctional workout stuff.
Yeah. Do you do your own editing and own for all your video production, or do you have somebody that works with you?
No, I have somebody who does it. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, some of the simple stuff I do, and then I have another guy that highlights the pictures for me like that.
Yeah, I like that. And, the picture before that, Eli, where he has the lit up target areas, the biceps.
Yeah, it's cool. One. It just shows you what you're working on, and we try to get creative with it. I mean, I'm so busy. Sometimes I wish I had a home gym like you, where I could just slide out there after a work day and record more stuff.
Record content.
Yeah, love it.
There are so many benefits to having this in this manner that I can't. You don't even think about. You just hit one on the head. The ability to do content just kind of whenever you want. If it's like a long day where I don't have a really great post lined up, or I didn't do anything, I'll literally just go in there I don't know, pick something up and talk about it for 10 seconds, and then that's the content for the day.
Yes, and you're so good with it. You'll just pick up one of your new pieces of equipment and boom.
Thanks, man.
And one of the things that most people don't actually see is Brandon is very quick-witted, and like we don't even have to like script anything out. I'll just be like, hey, someone has this question. He's like, all right, let's shoot it.
Yep, and I could
good to go.
That's what I figured he'd be like. I guess that's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. That what you see on that page takes a long time.
Yep.
And it's similar to the principle of compounding interest, how you said, hey, I need to post once a day, and I need to do that for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yes.
In order to see any marketing, benefits from doing social media. Social media is not something where you just kind of buy in maybe once a week and then hopefully something comes back.
Yep.
It has to be. You have to treat it like your bread and butter, like it's going to be where
Absolutely.
you're going to eat off of.
It's a full-time job what we're doing. And I mean, I think now, how long have you been training now?
I've been training for almost 14 years, but here only 9.
Okay.
And then we've been together only, Eli, help me out here.
Like 2.5 to 3.
Like 2.5 years now? Yeah.
Okay.
So I did it full time, but I didn't do it nearly to the degree where it's at in the last 2 years. Really,
Yes.
in the last 2 years, several things have happened. The biggest thing that's allowed for the growth on the side of training has come from content, but maybe not in the way most people think. It's come from the content because it's come via collaboration with equipment companies.
Yes.
Because we have grown a brand that is somewhat semi-recognizable, the companies are now sending us stuff to where, people are like, how much did all that cost? I'm like, well, a lot of it I didn't buy.
Yeah.
A lot of it came here through collaboration purposes.
Absolutely.
And that was something I didn't see.
Yeah.
And so in the last 2, maybe 3 years, that side of the company has grown exponentially.
Yeah.
Compared to what it was for the, 9, 10 years before that.
Definitely. I mean, now I'm 10 years, you're 10 plus years. I mean, we've been around doing this for a long time. We've seen all the ins and outs. I mean,
How you like in your 30s? Like as a professional, as a trainer?
I'm loving it. I think
it.
30s are going to be the best. How old are you?
31.
Okay, it's 33. Yeah. I think these are going to be the best decade for us for sure.
Do you find that someone was talking about this the other day, and someone, you know what it was? Someone was saying they were afraid of being in their 30s, and I told them, I'm like, oh no, you don't get it. No one takes you seriously in your 20s. As well they shouldn't. You don't know what you're doing. No one in their 20s knows what they're doing, even if they think they do.
Yep.
People take you seriously. You take yourself more seriously because you have a true understanding of knowledge that you don't really have to fake. Maybe you faked it till you made it all through your 20s.
Yes, that's what it was.
We all
20s,
did.
Yes.
You hit your 30s. Maybe you've done some schooling. You've got some groundwork. You've got something that maybe actually works. Mm-hmm. And that's when you really can feel comfortable having these conversations, conveying information where you don't feel like you have to overcomplicate answers or make something up. You can really kind of give just what happened to you, and that's sort of the truth.
Definitely. I feel like so much has happened like the last 10 years. It's felt like 3 different lifetimes, and I look back at what I was doing when I was 22, and it's just like, what was I thinking? Just the way I recorded videos, the way I talked, we've just grown and matured so much. It's pretty cool.
Oh, when I look back, I tell people this. When I look back at this is episode 23? 23. When I look back at episode 1, I don't think I've made it all the way through. Not even once. I can't watch it. It's so cringeworthy. It's hard to watch yourself. It's hard to watch myself in anything.
Yes.
I'm a little bit more comfortable with it now because now I'm kind of okay with how it looks when it's done. But in the beginning, especially this long format official conversation, it was because it's and like it's just you have all these weird punctuation words that we all use when you're just shooting the shit, but when you're actually talking about something, it doesn't work. You have to get rid of it. It doesn't sound right. Exactly.
I think the last 2 years, I finally have just gotten super comfortable. Like filming content. This is actually my first podcast I've ever done.
No kidding.
I was going to tell you that.
Who was that? It was
so
Jake.
pumped.
Jake was our co-host. Couldn't make it today. He's a great guy. You'd love him. He had something with his kids, but he was saying, he's like, has this guy ever been on a podcast? I can't find... Because usually how we find people for guests is they have a podcast and they'll either hit us up for a swap or that's just kind of how it goes. But I'm like, I don't know if he's ever been on it. This was your first ever.
Yep.
What do you think?
And it's awesome.
It's fun. Right?
I can't wait. It's going to be a domino effect. I have another one I'm going to do with my buddy, I think next week or the week after for local entrepreneurs. So I'm just ready to just knock them out, start spreading a bunch of information,
Nice. Who's your buddy for the local entrepreneur?
Sean Caldwell. I'm trying to think what theirs called. They just started it. They're on
that sounds really familiar. familiar.
So
The name sounds familiar.
He's like
is he fitness type guy?
He is. He's in the mortgage industry, but he just did like a smaller Ironman.
I do know
stuff.
who he is.
Okay.
I know his Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever interacted with him, but I know his page.
You guys got to meet because he's really impressed and he wanted to ask some questions.
Oh, he knows. He knows.
I showed you. I've been showing off your stuff.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I actually have a question because you guys touched on this a little bit about both of you being in the industry for 10 plus years. You're both in your early 30s. For someone who's 22, 23, getting in the industry, doing the Lifetime Fitness route, or LA Fitness or Lifetime? Lifetime. Going that route, what can they be doing now to be more knowledgeable and get to where you guys are today much quicker?
Let me go first.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
I would say just always be a student for sure. Just keep learning, stay consistent, stay dedicated. I mean, I was competing and trying to personal train before anyone thought it was cool. I mean, people used to make fun of me for competing and trying to be a trainer, and now anyone off the street's like, oh, I'm an online coach. So just stay, just work on your craft and just stay dedicated with it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's a very good point. Schooling, I don't know when it happened, but it seems like today, especially when it comes to like official schooling, people kind of sweep it under the rug really aggressively. Like, nah, man, I don't need school. I'm gonna just go out and get. And truthfully, that's not the right approach. It's not, because schooling really does have a very definitive. You kind of start and finish. All right, here's my master's. It'll start and it's done.
Yep.
And when it's done, all of a sudden, I am now branched off from the rest of the market. Like, how many trainers have a master's degree? How many trainers have certs that are, this is not the only way to define your knowledge, but it 100%. Is one thing that no matter who you are, everybody can get into schooling. Yep. Everybody can stay a sponge, keep learning, and even if you're 22, actually, especially if you're 22, I don't know what your schooling background was, but I took like a 7-year sabbatical between my undergrad and my master's before I went back and did anything.
Yep.
All that time would have been so much better served if I had just pushed through, kept going, and stayed in the academic world. It would have been a lot, probably better use of my time. Another thing that I would say beyond education is your brand recognition.
Yes.
And I say that because whoever you are and whatever you're selling, whatever it is you want to become in the future, that can apply to you.
Yes.
Today, in 2022, that's your resume.
That's your resume.
No matter what you're doing.
Yep.
I don't care if you're Sean Caldwell and you're selling insurance, or if you're, a trainer. It doesn't matter what you do. That is a way for me to send that page to someone, and they know immediately, well, maybe after, call it 5 minutes, all right, I know what this guy's about. All right, this guy's an IFBB pro. Oh, okay, cool. He's got some good graphics. Oh, he's got a good interaction. He's got people that are, okay, this is all good. That is a way, and that's why it's so powerful. That is a way to interconnect.
Yep. Learn how to brand yourself, You don't have to have money and start paying for graphic designs and stuff.
It's free.
Just film yourself, Take your iPhone, put it up there, and start, getting consistent with your post.
The iPhone is probably the most expensive part of the entire equation to do this.
Yep.
Especially that new phone. Have anybody seen that new phone yet? The 14?
Oh, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It just keeps getting better and better.
It's just ridiculous. But that is a really easy, down-to-earth method for anyone, especially if you're like, hey man, I don't have a podcast studio. I don't have a gym I don't have anything like that. I almost guarantee you have social media.
Yep.
Like if you don't, you're doing it on purpose today.
Yep.
So use it. It's a very powerful tool, professionally speaking, especially if you're in your 20s.
Yeah, if they're not busy, they have a lot of downtime to just record some videos, make some workouts at least.
Yeah.
So that's what
and
I would say.
Even if you are busy, I mean, there are days where I feel just absolutely wrecked and done and swamped, and I don't want to do anything. And he'll come in, he'll be like, hey, man, you ready? And I'm like, honestly, bro, I'm not ready. I don't want to do it. I don't want to film content. He goes, okay, just give me 5 minutes.
You got to do
it. And in 5 minutes, we can do like 3 videos.
Yep.
Then the next 3 days are covered.
I mean, we're blessed to work for ourselves and be trainers, so the least we can do is film some content every week, Do you have any idea how... Do you have any idea how few people get to work for themselves, but get to work for themselves in something that they forget love? How about even like? Yep.
Like how many people despise working for the job that isn't their job? They work for someone else doing something they hate. Like they wake up in the dark, they go home when they're tired, and then it's like 90% of people
Yep.
live like that.
I might wake up tired. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I have clients at 5 a.m. You know, and I told myself when I started my business, I would never complain when I got up at 4 a.m.
No way.
Sometimes I'm tired, but I won't. I have some very wealthy clients, and they're like, "Do you realize how awesome it is that you've made it and been able to work for yourself? You know, like I might not be rich, but I'm doing okay, and I can work for myself. I'm happy, and if you go into work and love it every day, it's not even work. I'm sure
do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life.
100%.
And when it comes to the issue of working for yourself versus the money you make, I trade money for time.
Absolutely.
Any day. You give me the option.
Yep.
You give me the option to create my own time, to literally create something and to struggle in my own way. I'll take that over a 9-to-5 that pays me twice what I would get if I was doing it on my own.
No doubt. So you'd have no time to do nothing. You'd be miserable.
Yeah, and your mind is shut off. Your creativity's muted. You don't have any independence.
Nope.
I just no. I had a very brief time where I did some real estate in the beginning of my career, and I wouldn't even say it was a job I hated. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't creative for me. I didn't get to really kind of get around it and just like think about it and get excited about it. I didn't get excited about it is the easiest way to put it. It was fine, and I made a lot of money. That's what really fueled this in the beginning. Before we were collaborating, before any of that was happening, I was buying equipment, and that's what really funneled that was real estate. But as soon as I could, I cut ties and I just transferred over because I'm like, that's not me. That's not my gig. It's not what I'm made to do. I'll take less money and do this.
For sure. I mean, I've done so many jobs before this, and I don't come for money. I have like a very lower middle class blue collar family. I'm from like southern Indiana, way out in the country.
Oh, cool.
I've literally delivered pizza. I've been a ballet driver, everything, you know. So I've worked my way up to this. You know, I've had to bust my ass, and you know, it's been a grind getting here. So
that's
I'm just
awesome,
happy
man.
to be able to train you.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Yep.
Tell me about the supplement line. I noticed you got something going on for that as well.
So I don't have a specific supplement line I work for, but DS Nutrition, that's like a local shop. Have you ever been there? They like have one in Gilbert.
I don't think I have. No.
Oh yeah,
DS Nutrition.
DS Nutrition.
No.
So Denny and his wife, they're super cool. They've been in the industry for probably 15 plus years. He started sponsoring me back in 2015 when I was competing.
Can you pull up DS Nutrition? But are they on Instagram?
Yeah, they should be on there.
D as in dog, S as in Sam.
Yep. And then so basically, I sent all my clients in there, and they have the best prices around. Like you can get stuff cheaper.
What a cool logo.
And their place is nice, man. I mean, they're stacked with all the supplements. And
how do they compare to? Yeah, I see you. How do they compare to like One Stop? I mean,
they're way cheaper than One Stop. It's not even close.
Gotcha.
You know, they just don't have the smoothies, but they have all the brands. He goes directly through the distributor. There's no middleman, and he's had a couple of companies actually stop giving him products. He sold it so cheap. So I mean, you can get supplements in there, protein bars, meal prep. He has everything in there.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So you just work with them as sort of a rep?
Yeah.
Is that the
just
way
as a rep, and
Gotcha.
I get all my stuff there, and we work out a deal. But I had sponsors in the past when I was competing, but I don't work with anybody specifically right now.
Gotcha. Outstanding. Yeah. So that would be where you would recommend people go if they're. I mean, are we talking? Anybody in any walk of life, someone just for even from a multivitamin all the way up to
everything
performance-based stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
Outstanding. Awesome. Yeah, I'm always open to seeing new faces in the nutritional world. I tend to delegate my nutritional needs to people that are in that industry outside of myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a base of knowledge when it comes to that stuff, but for me, I really sort of picked my lane as the trainer. I wanted to be the strength and conditioning coach, working with a really good nutritionist. So it's important to know your field. You don't want to be the person who knows, 2 inches deep about 50,000 things.
Yeah,
exactly. I want to know like a mile deep about 10 things.
For sure.
So
do you make your own food, or do you have like a meal prep company you go through?
Not yet. No. We've had a few companies. We've had a few companies reach out to us about the potential of some kind of a collaboration. We haven't really jumped on that all that aggressively. I myself cook all my own food. I do a lot of carnivore based stuff. I eat a lot of really nutritious meats. I eat elk, venison, bison, that kind of thing, and then fruit is kind of what I really kind of leaned into the Paul Saladino methodology when it comes to that stuff. I've for me, and that's really where I like to take the conversation when people ask my opinion. I'm like, well, you asked my opinion, so I'll tell you what's really, really worked for me, and what I've seen the best results with is that diet.
Yeah.
I've tried a few other variations on it. I've tried Dolce. Paleo is close, but really kind of leaning. If you want to know nutrition, just watch the Carnivore MD.
Yep.
This is the one page where I actually do he doesn't really give out bad information, at least not that I have seen so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it works for you. I mean, you're lean, look good.
Thanks, man. How about you? I mean, obviously you did shows, you did competing.
Yep.
What was that like from the nutritional standpoint?
For me, I mean, you're pretty tall too. I'm like 6'3", so going into the bodybuilding world, it's almost like impossible to put on like that much mass. I mean, when I started, I was 175 pounds, and in the off season I was 255.
Which category of competition did you fall into?
So I started out, when I first started competing, there was no men's physique, there was no classic. I was an open super heavyweight. I mean, I've won almost every show locally here. I mean, at least in my class. So yeah, when I started, that's what I tell everyone. I'm like, there was no men's physique when I started. So I had to go in open bodybuilding, and then 2016 classic physique came out, and then that was perfect for me.
Is that when it came out? Was 2016?
Yep.
I was trying to remember when that first, because you're right, it wasn't like it was always there. I remember when they came out with classic physique. I was like, oh, that's cool, because now normal people have a shot.
For sure.
It's like you don't have to be.
Yep. I did do men's physique for like a year, and I just wasn't for me because I wanted to show off the legs and stuff. So anyway, I got into classic physique like 2016, and I was, in the off season, I was consuming like 5,500 plus calories a day, just bulking up. I was having 2 refeeds per week just to, put on the mass.
Yeah.
But I like just having a balanced diet. I'll usually start out clients with, higher protein, moderate carbs, and then lower fats, and kind of just work around it, just depending on if they want to drop body fat or they want to put on muscle, kind of maintain, just go from there.
Which category, because you said you competed in a few different ones, which category of bodybuilding would you say is your favorite?
I would still say classic.
Classic?
I love it because they have like the old school classic symmetry, and they get to do a lot more posing. As opposed to men's physique, you're just there in board shorts.
In board shorts, that's the board shorts category.
Front and back. Which, I mean, I'm not knocking them. They have great physiques, but it's way more fun just using your whole body to pose for classic physique.
Yeah, it's more impressive. Let's call it what it is. It's definitely more impressive. I've seen some of those, some of the board short guys, and it's like, okay, I see why they have them in that. They didn't put on the size in their legs.
Exactly.
They just didn't.
Some of them do, but then 90% of them don't. I'm sorry to say it, but a lot of men's physique guys, they know they're not going to have to show them, so they don't care about it.
They don't care about them that much, it makes sense. And it's fine to have the category. I mean, so I've often wondered this as well. When you win in any of those categories, where do you have to place to get your card?
Okay, so you start out at a local show. You have to get top 2. And then you go to what we call nationals from there. And then you have to, in bodybuilding, I think you have to win. But classic, you can get top 2, and then you'll go pro there.
Got it.
So you have to go qualify at your local home show. I would start here in Arizona, and then I would go to like USA's in Vegas or nationals in Miami. And then 2016, I was top 4 in the country. I mean, we had 40 to 45 guys in our class. I was in the toughest C class. And then 2017, they introduced the D class. It was a little taller. And then I was like, okay, this is my time to shine. I'm over 6 foot. And then I went in and won.
You won at Classic?
Yeah, I won in Classic.
You won in Classic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've won in Classic. You get your card. Then what happens?
Then you're supposed to go do pro shows. So that's when I have not competed since I went pro. I kind of semi-retired. I was kind of burnt out. I had a long run, 10, 11 years competing. I was kind of dumb when I was young. I didn't get my blood work done much. I should have been going to do this. So I did start having some issues. Some of it's from eating bad. I used to eat really bad, especially in the off season. Some of it was from, some steroid use, taking anabolic. So I had some cholesterol issues. I had some liver enzyme numbers that were off. And I kind of wanted to take a step back and just focus on the business from there.
When you say you ate bad, I mean, was it just entirely just a calorie count you just needed mass? You didn't care what it was, cheeseburgers, pasta, any of it?
I would literally eat frozen pizzas and tater tots at night, Pop-Tarts, just spiking the insulin beforehand.
My kind of diet.
and that is where I think, I mean, you've been at the ground level of this, so I'm sure you can attest to it. There are certainly a lot of aspects of professional bodybuilding that are not healthy.
Yes.
It is not a healthy sport.
Yes.
And that is one area where you mentioned the spiking of insulin.
Yep.
I mean, you've got a human being that is taking their blood sugar and spiking it like a roller coaster on just not even a daily, like a bi-hourly basis, where
Yes.
you are eating just the insane foods. You're putting on all this size and muscle and fat too, because you're in the off season. You just want
you gotta
size.
put on a little fat.
Just put it on, and then at the end, you're going into a cut. And oftentimes, I mean, I've had friends that have done it. I've never done shows; it just wasn't my thing. But the deep cuts, the ones where you end up tracking your urine, you end up dehydrated, in addition to all the issues that you mentioned, and we'll get to anabolics in a second. But what would you recommend that someone do this? I mean, is this because now you've pivoted, you're sort of more now into you're a health coach, you're teaching a healthy lifestyle, not necessarily bodybuilding.
Yes.
What would you say to someone who's on the fence about doing maybe one or the other?
Yeah, I'm still okay with it. I mean, I love bodybuilding. I think it's one of the best sports in the world. I mean, it's built, basically built my business. It's built who I am. So now I do have a lot of clients that want to compete and they're beginners, and I have pivoted, but I just have them do a safer approach. I'm like, if you're going to go do this show, NPC show, everyone is going to be taking some type of performance enhancing drug. Like,
sure.
You cannot go up there and expect to be able to compete with these guys or gals if you're not taking something.
Yeah,
so,
the gals too.
Yeah.
That's
that's
a whole other. Oh man, that gets.
Yeah.
It seems almost worse. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. It just seems worse. But okay, all right. So I mean, it's pretty much what everyone expects. Anybody watching bodybuilding has an understanding of. All right, well, everybody up there is expected to look a certain way. Everybody up there is sort of expected to do anabolics.
Yes.
Because there's a strong argument to be made that there really isn't a safe way to take large, copious amounts of androgens and anabolic steroids.
Yes.
What is your safe approach that now you tell your newcomers that are trying to get to where you got to and they're coming to you for advice?
So, I mean, I've researched and studied anabolics for the last 10 years, so I know the safe way to approach it. There's baby steps to start out with the beginner cycle. You want to get your blood work done every 3 months. I feel like I used to abuse stuff and take way too much, so I will start them like on the lowest amount, bump their calories up, kind of see how their body reacts to it. And I think you can do it safely if you're getting your blood work done, cycling on and off. If you're taking liver support, estrogen blockers, you got to do it the right way. So now I get TRT from the doctor, and my blood work is healthier than it's ever been, but I'm taking very minimum to where I was. I still have plenty of muscle, I have energy, I feel good, my strength's good. So you just got to be smart. I mean, there was times where I didn't do my blood work for 5 to 6 years. I mean, it's scary to even think about.
Yeah.
So
on that topic, there is a large argument to be made that I tend to agree with, that there is a difference between TRT, which for those of you guys who don't know, that's testosterone replacement therapy. It's essentially going to a physician. You're receiving call it a microdose of testosterone, perhaps something to go with it for an estrogen blocker, but you're receiving synthetic hormones at a very, very, very minimal and manageable dose, sort of forever.
Yes.
Like TRT is meant to be done for an indefinite amount of time, as opposed to what Corey just mentioned about a cycle. Even a light cycle is meant to spike your hormonal levels, pack on muscle, stop the cycle, take your PCT, and hopefully maintain that muscle mass that you kept on while continuing on through your journey in bodybuilding. What would you say to that? I mean, would you say, first off, do you consider TRT to be taking steroids? That's a big question we get.
Yeah, I think no, because, when I think of steroids, I'm thinking more like hardcore anabolics, like,
Yeah, like what? Like what?
Anabol,
Okay.
I'm thinking of Deca, Trends, of really strong ones, especially the orals. Like, those are the ones that really have got to go through your liver a lot more, and
Right.
those are the ones that are pretty toxic. But yeah, I don't think of just TRT and testosterone at that low of a dose as taking steroids.
What is a low dose?
I would say maybe 0.1 or 0.2 per week. So I mean, you're looking at
So if you're talking about like a like a diabetic syringe. You get a little tiny
Yes.
syringe.
I mean, you're talking
100 at the IU. It's like a little. So like what?
Yes.
One of those per
Yeah,
week.
0.1 or 2. So I mean, you're looking at not even 100 milligrams sometimes. I mean, just depending on how low your test is, you know.
Right. That's the other thing when it comes to TRT. I don't know of too many people doing TRT that aren't under a physician's care. You will be required to get your blood work done by that physician at least every 3 months.
You have
They're not going to treat you unless you are going through that.
Yep.
And furthermore, they are also going to prescribe you. Now, of course, it would not be impossible to abuse what they give you on your own, but they are not going to give you more than what they want you to be on.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you, okay, here's, I want you taking half of this on Monday, half of this on Thursday, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's your dose. And that will get you to, what is your T count now? I mean, with TRT on board,
Yeah.
Where do you know where your levels are?
So I'll usually be pretty high within like the 900s, and then they'll usually have you do your blood work 3 or 4 days after your last shot, so it will, drop down and show where you're really at. So, but I mean, you're right. It's a lot safer to do it that way. And I mean, they're not, if you think you're going to walk in there and get 1 cc or something per week from a doctor, they would never do that. And if your numbers are even off at all, they're going to have you, come off of it, drop it down. My hemoglobin levels were up. They'll make me go donate blood, and I have to show them the paperwork. So, I mean, it's super safe doing it that way.
Sure. Yeah, just better for the blood pressure, better for the heart, better for everything. The liver, too. The liver's the one that's the thing, that or maybe the prostate are the two things that I think scare people the most when it comes to this, especially if you are abusing and taking large amounts.
Yep.
Doing your blood every 3 months or not, if you are doing large amounts of steroids, you are running a very large risk of prostate cancer and liver failure.
Yep. Or how about people that drink alcohol and do it?
And do it.
I'm like, man.
Well, it's also true because you look at the person who's doing it. What kind of lifestyle is that person living? Like, does that person take pills? Does that person party? Does that person get? I mean, a lot of times they do.
Yep.
If they're willing to do that, they're most likely willing to do other things because you're talking about a person who's willing to shoot substances into their glute every single day or every other day. And then that it can be so easily irresponsible.
Yep.
So easily abused.
And unfortunately, like I've been on both sides of that. I have an addictive personality, so I was hooked on opioids for about 2.5 years, and this is while I was trying to come up in bodybuilding. So, I mean, it started out as a slow thing. I would take 1 or 2, Percocets or Oxys just on like a long day at work, and then I was completely hooked from about 2010 through 2012 or beginning of 2013.
Okay.
Yes.
And did this, because I know oftentimes painkillers, opioids, that starts from maybe a pre-existing injury, something what got you, I mean, did you just start taking it because you wanted to, or did you take it for a reason?
So at first it was kind of an injury. I was young. There was a doctor at home that was a little, generous, let's say, with prescriptions. So I did tweak my back, and he used to be a bodybuilder, and he would prescribe them. So I would take some of them here and there. I'd sell some of them, get rid of them. And then I came off of them for about 2 years until I moved out here in 2009. I think the first time I did it was 2010. I was working security, and one of the bar backs asked me if I wanted one. And, it's the devil. Once you start taking that, like, you cannot, it's hard to get off of it.
Yeah. And I've heard, I've never taken opioids frankly, I think I've maybe only taken them once or twice. But when you take them not in pain, it's a significantly different experience than if you're in chronic pain and you take a painkiller. Well, all right, that's what it's meant to do.
Yep.
But if you're like all good and you just start taking opioids, it's possibly the most addictive thing in the world.
I mean, it is the quickest spiral downhill you can say. And I was very productive. Like, I was working. No one ever knew I was on them. I was like, I'll go out with you guys. I'll be the DD. And like, no one, no one ever knew. I mean, it's scary. Like, I was working security at the W in Scottsdale, and I would literally take 130 milligram Oxy before the shift started. And then halfway through, I was going in the bathroom and snorting another one. And no one would ever expect me. I was like the healthy bodybuilder. And then it just got to the point where I couldn't even wake up in the morning and function without, taking painkillers. I mean, it got really bad.
We had a family member, same thing, had a back injury, got into into them big time, and took like 3 years to finally get clean.
Yep.
So what was that process like? What got you out of it? I mean, you came out how?
Yeah, I mean, it was miserable. In the moment, you just want to get your fix. You're happy, you can work, but I was spending so much money on them, not having a prescription. I mean, if I was taking 2 a day, that's 14 per week. They go anywhere from $25 to $35 a pill. I don't even know how much it would be now. So it got to the point where I was spending all my money.
And now you got to worry about fentanyl.
Oh,
it's different than it was like 5-10 years ago,
crazy.
man. That shit's everywhere.
Yep. And there's been some addictions in my family. I have a cousin, other family members that have been on it, and it's just hard to even talk about. She's been on and off of fentanyl and stuff at home too, and it's so rough.
Yeah.
So I started spending a lot of my money. I was trying to compete. I couldn't put on the weight. I'd wake up in the morning. I would sleep in till like 10 or 11, and I'd try to eat my breakfast, and I couldn't even eat it. And I'd fall back on the couch for another 2 or 3 hours.
Damn.
And then I remember one night I forgot my pills at home. It was like 2012, and a girlfriend at the time, I had to call her, and I was like freaking out. Like I was like, I need you to bring these to me right now. And that's when I realized I was a really bad addict, and I had to like get a hold of myself. So I checked myself into a rehabilitation center 2012.
Good for you.
So
man.
I stayed there. I had to go every week, 2 or 3 days a week, and kind of got off of it. I haven't relapsed since, it's almost been 10 years.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's incredible,
Thank you, man.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And to have the fortitude to check yourself in. I mean, most people don't do that. Most people don't check themselves in to I mean, it's like a family member drags you there. Your
and you
dad
have to
or your mom
really
comes to get
want
you.
to. I mean, you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink,
Right,
like you have to really want to change. And it's hard to do it yourself. So I mean, I'm proud of myself for doing it.
I'm proud of you too. And that was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And now, since then, I mean, did you have your card? Because I know you were bodybuilding while you were doing that.
Yep.
You got your card later on?
Yeah, I got it after that.
You got it after that, and now you got the business is running. The thing that's an incredible testament.
Yep.
You gotta make sure that you tell people about that. There's a lot of people that are stuck in that. A lot of dark places people go, and they really, I mean, you really feel like you kind of can't get out of it.
Yep. And I just want to be like completely transparent and just share my experiences, because I kept that in for a long time. I don't even think my mom knew those stories for till about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed of it. I was kind of ashamed of it, but now I just want to be able to help others, because everybody probably thinks I had it easy coming up. I've never had any addictions or any like criminal background or anything. I mean, I've made just as many mistakes as anyone, if not more. So
yeah,
I try to just spread the word and, help everyone out.
Yeah. No, it's addiction always keeps us longer than we want to stay. And it's tough to recognize it oftentimes in your own life. Maybe we've got something that we know probably isn't a healthy habit to have, but is it an addiction? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But you are the one who will realize when it's an addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Like no one else. Everyone else can have their own definition. They can tell you, hey, you're addicted, but 9 times out of 10, you don't want to hear that from them anyway, even if they did tell you. But when you're addicted to something.
Yep, deep down, you're going to know.
Oh, yeah. And you're lucky that your big come to clarity moment was just in a moment of panic wanting pills.
Yep.
Could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yep.
I mean, you hear some of the stories. We had a friend of our brother's, wasn't addicted to pills, but he was running around with people who got involved in some kind of a transaction that didn't go the way they wanted. Someone got shot. He went to jail. He went to prison when he was 18, almost 19. And he's been there for 9 years.
Yep.
And that kind of world.
Yep. Anytime you get caught
happens.
up in that world, anything could happen. And, I got caught up in that type of world too. So when I first moved here in 2009, just trying to fit in, started kind of hanging out with the wrong people, going out, partying, got into the party scene. I think it was 2010. I had ketamine on me. I was kind of selling it at these little parties, this and that. I'm a different person now. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to even look back and think about this. So we were smoking weed outside of a club. A cop ran up on us. We tried to run off. I was like, we're not going to get away from him. So he comes up on us. He's patting everybody down. I kind of take the bag I have and try to flick it in the sewer. And then he puts his flashlight on me and my heart dropped. Immediately he's like, what was that? And I forgot. I still had another bag in my pocket. So regardless, I was going to get caught. He found that. I got arrested that night. I moved apartments, never got the paperwork. I knew I should have went to court. So a year later, I think it was almost 2011, I'm going to the grocery store to get some snacks, whatever, and 2 cop cars surround me in Tempe. And I'm with a friend of mine at the time. She's like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I kind of forgot. It had been a year, and there was a warrant out for my arrest."
Wow.
Yes.
A warrant because he arrested you for the bag.
Yes.
And then did you have to go to court and never did?
Yeah, I never went to court.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Being a stupid 20-year-old, so dangerous drug possession. I was in jail for probably 3 days, and thankfully, since it was my first offense, me and my mom got it dropped. We got the bail drop. I mean, I was literally about to go into a sale in downtown Phoenix. Like, they were getting my shackles, the orange shooter. I was like, hold on, I have like one more phone call. And then that phone call changed everything. I got out, got on probation for 18 months. And then,
Yeah, because if you think about it, the person who gets busted for possession, who then also doesn't show up to court and then gets a warrant, to the cop, this is like, okay, this is somebody who we really need to go get. Like, this person is not messing around. He's who knows, gang affiliated. Maybe he's a serious dealer. We don't know.
Yep.
So that makes sense.
I mean, it was bad. And once the cops started talking to me, they're like, "Look, man, you seem like a good guy. Just get your stuff together." First, I was like, "What did I do?" They literally thought they had the wrong person. They're like, "All right, maybe it's not you." And then they were like, they saw my like physique, I guess. They're like, "Were you like selling steroids or something?" They were kind of just joking around, and then they went and ran me in the system. Like, "Okay, it's you. Let's go."
Yeah, it's you.
It was a rough night.
That's an amazing story, though, man. I mean, you've come out of that. You're on the other side of it now. You're changing people's lives. You're successful. You got something going. You got a team of people beneath you looking to you. So that's an outstanding story.
Yep. Thank you, man.
Where can people find you if they want to get a hold of your stuff?
So Instagram's my main platform. I'm on there at the Corey Upton website, uptonfitness.com. And then I'm also on TikTok. I think I put that at... Did I put that? Upton Fitness on TikTok.
There you go.
I'm new on TikTok, but getting it going.
Stay on that one, man. That platform will change everything for you.
Yeah,
all your other stuff will grow from TikTok.
Yeah, you're one of the fifth people that's told me that lately, just to stay on there. So
I didn't believe it either. He's the one who saw it all coming. I didn't want to go on the teenage twerk app, but lo and behold, it works. Yep. Well, Corey, thank you so much for coming on, bro. That was awesome. It was an outstanding,
thank you, man.
Outstanding chat. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.